there is a rise in men wanting to be with a more traditional woman. What I mean is a woman who has more traditional values, a woman who likes a man to lead the family, and in general, a woman who really respects men and has that more traditional mindset of how a family should be ran. So I know a lot of guys are moving to try to find traditional women. Of course, seems like there is a decline in women who are traditional. That's why men are passport broing all the way to Asia to find women. But I know that that's not possible for everyone. So how do you find a more traditional woman? I'm gonna give you some tips on how to do that, how to attract them. Here we go. First, you gotta think about where to actually find them. Here's the more obvious places of religion. So church or synagogue, any kind of temple. These are places where traditional women are usually going. Of course, it's not every single one, and there's so many different denominations now of churches and temples and synagogues, but still you have a higher chance of finding a more traditional woman there. Now online, there are apps that are dedicated to finding a more traditional woman, and usually this is gonna be in the realm of a woman who's more conservative, right? So traditional women, conservative women kind of all goes together when they lean more right politically. So there are some apps that you can go on. One I know is called Date Right. I actually interviewed the owner of that, and he's got like millions of followers on TikTok. That guy started that app because he also saw that people were seemingly more interested in dating a traditional woman. Also, if you're on Hinge or Tinder and you're doing just regular dating apps, you would want to filter for conservative women, so women who are leaning right and conservative, and that is an option on the app, so you would pick that and swipe on those women when you're filtering. That's just where to meet them. But how do you then attract a traditional woman? Well, if you want to attract a traditional woman, you inherently have to be a traditional man. But what does that look like? You need to be a strong leader. Women who are traditional are looking for the man to take the role in the relationship and be the leader, especially financially. So you need to be someone who is ready to protect and support and be the role that keeps the family moving and stronger and being the best versions of themselves while making sure they have an amazing home and a life. You are the person who is in charge of that, because generally speaking, a traditional woman might be a stay-at-home mom or might have more of like side hustles or small gigs when they're looking to the man, their husband, to provide for the family. So that is something that you have to consider when looking for a woman. Are you gonna be that type of man? Also means that they're gonna want to be a little bit more submissive to you. So are you okay with having a woman who is being more submissive? Are you okay with making all the decisions for the family? Yes, of course, in every family, decisions tend to be made together, but the more traditional, the more conservative a family is, the man just leads as if he is the president of the family. And are you okay with your wife being a housewife and not bringing in any income? Can you support a family where she is generally taking care of the home and the children? Are you okay with that? If you are and can provide that, then you are on your way to being able to match better with that traditional woman. Now let's talk about family values. Traditional women generally want to have a family and they want to have kids. In some cases, they want to have lots of kids. Are you a family man? Are you ready to commit to being a family man? Are you ready to raise sons and daughters and provide good examples to them and raise them to be amazing human beings? Are you ready to put in that work? Are you ready to be a father? If you are, and so far you've said yes to a lot of this, that means that your values are matching the values of a traditional woman, and she's going to want to be with that guy. And when it comes to being more traditional, there's very little room for exceptions. It's a little bit more binary in my opinion, where it's either you're kind of traditional or you're not, right? You're either just more moderate or you're more, liberal and kind of left wing, okay? So you have to be thinking about that. And I would say the more traditional and potentially conservative that you are, the more polarizing that is, which means you're gonna have some women who are very attracted to that. Now, to zoom out real quick, I just wanna mention, whether you are a traditional guy or a liberal guy or whatever it may be, either way, all women still want you to be someone who is very masculine, who is a leader, who is very proactive, who is assertive. It's not like left or liberal women or less traditional women don't like that. No, they still look for that. So either way, you want to be a man who knows his purpose, knows his path, and is ready to lead in some sense. We do help with that, by the way, in the Trip Advice Accelerator program. We're doing free calls right now. If you want to check the link below, you can book a call and talk to my team. We can chat with you about how to be the most assertive and proactive and masculine man so that you can attract more women, because at the end of the day, it's no secret, that's what women are attracted to, just like you are attracted to a feminine woman. In fact, you might be watching this video because traditional women are typically more feminine and you might be more attracted to that. Anyway, link in the description below. Let's continue. When you're dating for courtship. I know this sounds obvious, but it really has to be understood here. When you're looking for a traditional woman, you're dating to date. You're not going to be sleeping around or trying to sleep with that woman fast. Traditional women might be, not all of course, but might be more to the virgin side. They could be virgins or don't want to sleep with a lot of men and they want to conserve that and they want to wait till marriage. So you need to understand that you have to be a man who is looking to the courtship process of courting them, taking them out on dates and paying for the meals and not pushing to be too physical too fast. Of course, you still can be and it still can happen, but at the end of the day, traditional women are not looking to give that up so fast. They want to have a longer courtship and they want to know that they're not just with some guy who's sleeping with a bunch of women, but is courting them and being with them. Because traditional women want to get married and raise families and they want to get that process going. They're not interested in just sleeping around and partying and having that kind of time in their lives. They're ready for that step and that chapter now. And what else does it mean to be a man who's going to be super attractive to a traditional woman? And in a lot of cases, like I said, other women in general too. You have to have your life together. They are looking for a man, like I said, that can support and provide. So you have to have all these little things in order. You have to have a nice place that is organized and clean, and you have to present yourself well, and you have to be well groomed, and you have to know how to present yourself with good style. You can't be addicted to drugs or drinking all the time. Obviously not, hopefully not an alcoholic. You have to have your mental health issues in order. All these things need to be cleared up because you have to be an effective member of society. If you cannot be an effective member of society, then that says to a woman subconsciously that he can't raise the family and he can't be there to support a family, and not just financially, but emotionally, and being there and being available to support. Because you're not going to be all there if you are a mess up here and in your life and you don't have that organization. A put together man, a catch, a guy who knows his path and moves forward. That is going to be the most attractive to a traditional woman.